Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you when this reaches you. Today is March 1st, the day of confirmation. My name is Alisha Quinn. Welcome back. And we are going to start off here by playing a song. I did get this a little bit straightened out, I do believe. So we will go ahead, and this song is called Trouble. It's a very fitting song for me. And go.
We wear red so they don't see us bleed. $100 bills under our sleeve. We intend not to sleep till we're dead. Drink our problems right out of our heads. Sing it up. Oh, trouble, trouble. Sing it up. Oh, here comes trouble. Dangerously having the time of our lives. These boys are just poisonous thorns in our sides, starting fires wherever we go, watching them gamble everything they own. Sing it up. Oh, trouble, trouble, trouble coming in the dead of night. Trouble making everything alright. It's in your blood, it's in your bones. You cannot sleep for, you cannot sleep for. There are dogs on the loose, there are snakes in the desert. I'm that knife in your boot, girl, I gotcha. I'm your number 2 man in a fight. We are revolutionaries tonight. Sing it up. Trouble, trouble, trouble coming in the dead of night. Trouble making everything alright. Trouble making everything alright. It's in your blood, it's in your bones. You cannot sleep for, you cannot sleep for.
All right. That song is very fitting for me and who I am.
My boyfriend and I have been arguing.
Turn this off. For sure, I am trouble. And I have been teaching boys lots of lessons in my lifetime. I have dealt with dogs and I have dealt with snakes. But we are here for a revolution. I promise you that. So just to review here, that I am no longer celebrating the pagan holidays. That's right. Get myself out of that. In fact, I did get a Valentine's card from my son, and I did let him know that I appreciated the card, but that I was no longer celebrating the holidays. You know, that's my choice. And got through the Valentine's thing. No candy, no special meals, or buying special decorations. And so, anyhow, I am sharing my journey of last year for people to learn and grow. And my life is a gift to the world and my experiences for sure. And so I will go back here for a review that I got this message, and then I have this whole story thing that will be released later of this message about this relationship I was going to be in. I got a guy friend. There's a mystery man, podcaster, guy at Wendy's, and Alex, which all led me to Ronald, which was my young 23-year-old boyfriend. You know, I came about where I had saw that he was a needle in a haystack that I was looking for. And we were involved in all kinds of an agreements, and including a marriage visa by the end of 2023. And on January 1st of 2024, I proposed to him. I do have that video out. You can go take a look at that. And, you know, I came throughout January where, you know, I was like, you know, this guy's this is just mathematically impossible that I am not supposed to be with this guy or be dealing with him. That was when I had discovered that his mother's birthday was 50 years to the date of me leaving my former husband, Robert, and also that his name was Ronald, and we were calling him Ronald. And my former husband had been accidentally cremated the year before in 23, and the guy's name was Ronald Quinton that was supposed to be cremated. So that's when I was like, this is just mathematically impossible with all the coincidences that I had already through the end of 2023. At that point, I was like, this is just mathematically impossible. I am not supposed to be with this guy or deal with him or something. And throughout January and February, Ronald kind of started backing off from messaging and being as available to me as he was in the beginning. And he had a post that he posted on my birthday, and then on February 23rd, which both had hidden comments on them. You can go back to my video for utilizing my power against Ronald to listen to that story. And at that point, I blocked him and said that if he had any BS, that he was not coming here to be with me. And but you know, we had continued with the relationship. There was just something intuitionally that just told me, Alisha, it just cannot be you. It is always me who really walks away from relationships and leaves. And there was a few when I was younger that wasn't me, but for the majority, it's me. And for some reason, there was just something inside of me that said, it just can't be you this time. And I left it on him, and he wanted to continue on. We were doing this soulmates twin flame thing, and and I had gotten that message that soul contracts were up, and I gave it to him, and he wanted to continue on. And so we're going to talk today, though, quite a bit more about the podcaster. That's right. And so when I came across this particular podcaster, because I throughout 2020 and 21 and 22 and going into 23, I was listening to a lot of podcasters and stuff. There was one guy very particular that I found the end of 2020, Jason Q, that I followed around to different platforms, podcasting platforms that I followed around. And then I got led to being on Screw Big Gov with Lewis Herms. And my full story will be coming out later on this month with that whole story. And so I came across this podcaster in 2022 about the fall time. And I was very intrigued with this guy. I was just intrigued with him. And I was very interested in wanting the information that he had. And so I came through this journey with watching this podcaster along with Jason Q and Lewis Herms, and I came to this point in the summer of 2023 after I got this message that I was going to be in this relationship, that this guy was just so intriguing, and I just decided to take a good look at this guy and figure out what it was that I was intrigued with, really. And I'm doing this evaluation of this man that I was looking for. This podcaster had a beard. I do not do beards. I just don't. I actually came to a point with this guy because I did not think he was attractive at all, that I was like, after I was taking a good look at him, I was like, he's kind of cute. But anyhow, I learned a lot of lessons by looking at this guy, and I learned a lot of things, including about myself, especially about myself. And, like I said, I will be sharing that story later on this year. Hopefully we'll get that one out by May sometime. But anyhow, I, at the end of the summer of 23, I started, and when I led up to having major surgery, I had major surgery in September of 23, I started at that point backing off and not listening to podcasting as much. I was really working on myself and my mind and things. And so I really backed off from listening to podcasting around September of 23. And I then, for some reason, I don't know what it was, but I did learn something, and you'll find out later what that was. But I did end up having a phone conversation with this guy. He has a business, this podcaster guy. He has a business. I inquired about this business, and we ended up having a conversation in 23 of October. That was October of 2023. We had this phone conversation, which actually led to some things for me. One of those things that led to was back to the guy at Wendy's. Anyhow, it's a very interesting story, but by talking to the podcaster, it led me back to the guy at Wendy's round 2, and then eventually round 3. Anyways, but a few weeks after I talked to the podcaster, and there was this special thing kind of going on with this product of this business that I had inquired about and so on, I end up having a conversation with a girl from the podcaster that he was, he said he was going to have me talk to this girl about this special and things. I believe that he had messaged me and asked me about this special that was going on with this new product that had came out, which was really directed towards women and bettering their health and stuff. And I was very much interested in that. And so I ended up having this phone conversation with this woman. I'm not sure what her name was, Alice, Lucy, Lila, Alexa, Lexi, but we are going to call this woman Alex. And so, anyways, I have a conversation with this lady, Alex, actually the same exact day that I was sitting down later to talk to the guy at Wendy's. But we had this conversation, and she ended up sharing with me how this podcaster was helping her with building her business and so on and so on. And I just had this thought, this thought that was, I wonder if these two were involved. This lady, this woman, Alex, and the podcaster. I was like, I wonder if these two are involved. I'm headed back over to sit down and talk to this guy at Wendy's. I didn't know what was going on with him. And so anyhow, then, by the next week, I was talking to Ronald, in fact. And so then was getting involved with Ronald. And so one of the things that I did was in December. And, one of the reasons that I kind of had to back off from listening to this podcaster as well was that it was very dangerous what I did. And, I kind of had some feelings for him a little bit. And so I went on his podcast, in December just to see where I was at, kind of thing with my feelings. And I went on there and I picked a video randomly. I was on this thing for maybe 5 minutes. I scrolled it over here, scrolled it back over here, scrolled it over here. But in this video is this woman, Alex, right? So I'm like, okay, now I have a face to the name and, who I talk to and stuff, right? And so I'm moving on, I'm involved with Ronald. In January, again, I went on to this podcaster's channel, randomly picked a video to take a look to see where my feelings were at for this guy. I didn't want to have any hangups. And, I was involved with Ronald and these types of things. And so I randomly pick a video. And again, it was the same thing. I scroll it here, I scroll it here, I scroll it here. And I was on there maybe 5 minutes. I just taking a look here. And again, in this video is this woman, Alex. But this time it was kind of interesting. This podcaster had a dog, and I am in this scene where I see this woman on this podcast, and his dog is sitting behind her. And so at that point, I asked myself, why was it that I needed to know that and see that? What was it that I needed to see and know? And, it came to me at that point. See, in 2023, in the summer, I came to this point where I was like, I'm back. And I felt like I was 17 again. And when I was 17, I was the party girl. And nobody told me what to do, and I did what I wanted to do. My parents didn't give me a lot of restrictions. And the one thing they did tell me, I did what I wanted, which ironically was messing around with the African guys. That's right. And here I am involved at this time. I was involved with Ronald, who was in Africa. So, anyhow, I realized that it was him. It was this podcaster who had helped bring back a piece of my soul that I had lost from being involved in religion in the church and my former husband, Robert. I needed her to come back. She needed to do something wild and crazy. That was mess around with a 23-year-old online. And, I also came to realize, see, this podcaster, he has a very alpha dominant type personality, which my former husband, Robert, did too. And I really came to see that I do not want to deal with some guy who has a dominant alpha type personality. But on the other hand, as I was involved with Ronald, and Ronald had this submissive yes man type personality, I didn't really want to have that either. And so, I really wanted, something in the middle, but I really had thought that Ronald would come and I would help him to rise up to be that kind of man. And that's a whole nother story. But anyhow, the other thing that I saw with this podcaster and this girl, Alex, was that I was that girl. I was that girl with Ronald. And I don't want to be that girl. I've done that gig. This girl is over there helping this guy build his life, build this, helping to manage his business and these different things. I've done that. I did that with Robert. And that's not something that I truly want to be involved in. I want to build my own life and my own world. And so, anyhow, as I was reviewing my life and reviewing things, I really came to see how I was really prepared for Ronald. I was prepared for him. I was prepared for him because I had men with beards put all around me in the summer of 2023. In fact, I like this guy singer, Jung Youth. I looked this guy up. I was like, oh my God, this guy got hair all over his face too. That was literally my response. But I just had these guys with beards, just, it was just prevalently, I seen how it was prevalently put all around me. I also, in the summer of 2023, had a lot of attention coming from Africans. I even talked to one of my nieces about it and was like, I don't know, these African guys need to leave me alone because I've been done with them for a long time. But I literally was sitting on a rock one day and I had an African guy flip his car around so he could talk to me. I was at McDonald's. I didn't even see the guy. I was doing a delivery. I'm walking to my car and all of a sudden I hear it from behind me. And Africans have this particular accent. And I was just like I dealt with a lot of African guys when I was younger, and which is a very interesting story. But I even married one. And so I was just kind of like, I'm done with these African guys. They need to leave me alone kind of thing. And then here I got involved with an African guy in Nigeria. Ironic. So anyways, I really came to see how I was prepared for Ronald with men with beards and these Africans that were just really put around me while I was doing my evaluation of the kind of man I was looking for, and on and on. But I also saw how I was prepared for my former husband, Robert, as well. I was prepared for him too. And that didn't end up the way that, I would have thought it would have ended up being. So I kind of got this picture going on here. It's like, I'm not quite sure about this. I mean, I'm definitely meant to deal with him, but for being with him, I wasn't quite sure. I'm just kind of like in this, higher, like looking at things in a higher perspective. I was kind of in it on a lower level a little bit, kind of like, I'm just not quite sure about things, I'm just kind of in this roller coaster a little bit. And, after February 23rd and that whole thing, and Ronald and I had a conversation and we moved forward. We had our phone conversation on Saturday, the 24th. So we come to Sunday, the 25th, and we had a family little gathering planned. We were getting together with one of my nieces and her son and stuff, and we were getting together about once a month, I believe. And so we had this little family gathering out at her place, at my niece's place. And as I was driving back home, I end up getting this message, and pretty much this is my response to the message that I got, which was, all right, let me go back over here and listen to this guy, the podcaster, and see what else I can learn from this man, because I learned a lot from this man. And so I was like, all right, let me go back over and listen to this podcaster and see what else I can listen to, what else I can learn from him. And so, so on Monday, I ended up getting a message from Ronald where he started talking about a sponsorship, doing a sponsorship to come over instead of pretty much doing a marriage visa type deal. And so then at the same day, I went back over to the podcaster's channel to start listening to him again. And I had left on a series that he had done about the power of your mind and stuff. And it was a whole long series that he did on this. And I was on number 2 of this series, and I had left 1 hour of it left when I quit listening to him and stuff. And so I went back to that one. I'm like, I'm going to just go back from where I left off, and I'm going to listen to this thing. And, I push play on this thing a couple of times, and it just times out. It will not let me play it. And so I'm like, all right, well, so I scroll this thing, I'm looking, I'm like, what should I find? What should I listen to? And I scroll this thing and I find one to listen to with the guy, Lewis Herms from Screw Big Gov. So I go over there to listen to, I listened to the podcaster and Lewis Herms on this new one that they had recently done at that point. This would have been February 26th, 2024. And so it was a recent one that these two guys had done together. So I go on here, I'm looking at this thing. Now, Lewis Herms, I had not listened or seen him really in like 6 to 9 months. I got off his channel in pretty much the year before, around February of 23. And so I had mostly been over on this podcaster's channel throughout, 2024 or 2023 until I stopped listening to him. And then I was off the podcasting. And then in March or the end of February is when I went back to listening to this podcaster. And so here is Lewis Herms on here. And at first I'm like, what is up with Lewis's face? He just looked different. And then it dawned on me, this man had shaved. I'm like, he shaved. And so this was very interesting to me that he shaved. And these guys are talking about gray hats, and this type thing. And there was also something that came up for me, which was, well, first of all, with the Lewis shaving type deal, that's really when I was very much like, wow, the connections with people and the fact that, are we really connected that much that this man just so happens to do something that he just did, which was shave, which did something for me, right? I needed to see that, and I was led to that. So, this is very interesting. I'm just thinking about these connections. And just a FYI, I did meet Lewis Herms the end of September of 2023. That will be in my story. But I did meet him. I even spoke to him. So this is very interesting about connections with people, even people that you don't really even know. And, something else got mentioned in this podcast that I was listening to, which was AI. And the problem with AI. I don't know much about AI. And so the podcaster mentioned this problem with AI. And as I go along during my week, I started getting shown things from God and how Ronald was somehow involved with some AI thing and this and that. And I end up even messaging Ronald about AI and being involved in it. And he said, see, Ronald didn't talk a lot about the things that he was learning. He was just, he's doing computer programming and coding, and he was teaching even, and these type of things. We'll talk a little bit more about some of that on the next podcast that I do. Anyways, so, I messaged Ronald about these things I was, that God was showing me that Ronald was somehow supposed to be involved with some AI thing and this and that, right? And Ronald said, that's interesting because he never told me, but he had just started learning AI. It was very interesting. And, I'm going through this week, and by Thursday, I'm just like, what, what is going on here? God is showing me a whole bunch of things here. And, I go to this podcaster's channel. I can't listen to this podcast. I tried that thing a couple of times to listen to, quite a few times. And, I tried it a couple times and then I found something to listen to. And then again, it happened again. I will talk about that in a moment. But anyhow, and it's like I needed to see something. I needed to learn something. And, so I go over here. This AI thing is mentioned. Now God shows me all these things and find out that Ronald's involved in AI. And, this is very interesting to me. I'm just kind of like, anyways, it's just boggling in my mind a little bit. And I'm laying back in my recliner and resting a little bit. And my son, he had something on that he was watching. And I would have you not, it mentioned AI. It said that everybody should have it, not just the corporations. That everybody should have AI available to them, not just the corporations, pretty much. I don't know a lot about AI, but I do know a few things. So I found this very interesting about this AI thing. And so, another thing that happened that after I got done listening to the one podcast where I seen that this podcaster Lewis had shaved and and the AI thing got mentioned. I listened to that thing. And so again, I went back to try to listen to this mind, the power of my mind and things that this podcaster had done a whole series on. And I go back to trying to listen to this last hour again of the second one in his series. And again, it won't play. Try it a couple times, it just times out, it won't play. So again, I scroll through this thing and I found one with a guy he did named Jay. And that video played. And that video was very interesting. I do feel that it was something that, I did need to know, I did need to learn for my spiritual growth. And they said some very interesting things on that one. But after I got, it was almost like I needed to listen to these particular two podcasts. Because then I went back over, I was able to listen to that power of my mind series that the podcaster did. I was able to listen to that last hour. And actually, all through March, I was listening to more of that series. So this was just very interesting to me that this happened. And the other thing that happened was on March 1st, Friday, March 1st of 2024, this podcaster had gotten it set up where on his Rumble channel that it will play his podcast live. And on the live podcast was part 2 of this series that he did with Lewis. But in this one, he had some facial hair. Lewis had some facial hair going on. And literally that was confirmation for me that I was prepared. I was sent for Ronald to the minimum to deal with him, not sure about being with him. And that was when I was 100% sure that I was supposed to be involved in dealing with Ronald. I have no doubt in my mind. And that was truly where I got that confirmation 100% that I was supposed to be dealing with him. And so, throughout March, one of the other things that I did was I went back, I went into the podcasters thing and I searched particularly for podcast videos that he had done with this woman, Alex, in it. And you know what? As I searched, I was trying to find this woman, and it wasn't easy. That really actually told me something, that for whatever reason, I had to go and see something. I had to learn something, really even about myself. And, this podcaster, he did help me to learn and grow in multiple different ways. And so you never know what your influence will actually truly be for someone. Because you might think that it might be for one thing when it could be for a whole nother thing. And so that was really a learning lesson for me. And another learning lesson for me was to watch my world and watch how God is trying to talk to me and tell me things and guiding me and confirming things to me. It's amazing how when you pay attention to your own life and your own reality and your own world, how God speaks to you. And this is just an example of that. And the things that I need to learn and grow is not what somebody else needs to learn and grow. Because we all have different things that we need to learn and grow from. But doing this podcast for me is for the ones that can learn and grow from me, from what I have gone through and what I have experienced. And, I may not ever know what that truly is, and it might be something totally different than what I would think that you would be learning from. And so some people, what happens some of the times is that people dismiss a lot of things and won't believe a lot of things when maybe God is trying to tell them something, but they're just not paying attention to it. They have too many mind traps on them. They're too limited and closed-minded. And so, another learning lesson is I am right where I am meant to be at this moment. And last year on March 1st, I was right where I was meant to be at that moment. I believe and I receive. I believe it. And so, I am not stuck. I am learning and I am growing. And this year is leading me to teach and help others. And so, that's really my learning lessons. And, another one is the switch up with Ronald. That one was pretty funny, actually. That all of a sudden he came in after I had blocked him from coming to be with me with this marriage visa thing, that he brought in this sponsorship thing. Isn't that funny how all of a sudden he got that switch up right after I had done that? I mean, he could have done that for 2 months. And so anyhow, again, if you want to talk about me and talk about what I said and be judgmental, that's on you. You know, you get to live with that person. I have freed myself from judgments. But I know that everybody loves me. Like, people like me so much. And I got a couple of women this week. One who called me and gave me a really, really great message. But I had another woman who wanted to spend time with me. And looking back to my birthday video when I said that I was gonna keep on doing 35, at least a few more years. This woman and I were talking, and she said, "How old are you?" I told her how old I was, and then I asked her, "How old do I look?" And she said, "You look in your 30s." And that's when I told her, I said, I said I'm 35 and I'm going to do 35, a few more years at least, and then we'll find out after that. And dryer is buzzing. That's part of life. Anyhow, more great things are coming my way for sure, 100%. I have no doubt in my mind. And my next videos, my video of 2020 and 2021, I am going to be releasing in the middle of March, in a couple of weeks probably. And my next podcast for this, of sharing my journey of last year and all this, is going to be done on April 3rd, 2025, when I told Ronald to drop me on a subconscious level. That's right. And we're going to talk about that. And we'll talk about, some of the things that were going on. And some of it's very interesting. And, subconscious level is a spiritual level, just so you know. And so, I had this thing happen. And so anyhow, I want to ask you to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I will put some links in the bio for that. I have my Facebook, Alisha Quinn. I think it's Alisha Broman Quinn. Broman is my maiden name. So Alisha Broman Quinn. And then I have a group called Our Greatness. And you can like that channel or that page for me, and get the messages of my videos and anything else that comes along that I need to put on there and or needs to be shared. And so anyhow, I am going to close this out with another song. And this song is definitely fitting, because we are here for a revolution, and we are heroes and legends. I am definitely a legend, and I'm going down as a legend.
On a poster, everybody knows that when we win it's cause we're supposed to. Fighting with the dark side, running but you can't hide. Talking all that trash, it's got your tongue tied. Beginning to win it, we'll finish, you better be ready to throw down. Calling us aimless, I'm missing the papers, and we find our way cause we know how. You get it twisted, we doing our business, they're chanting our names and it's sold out. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, no way. We are the heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until our hands are to the heavens. Heroes. that's when we golden. Kings and queens are folding. There's something in our touch, feel the rush, yeah, we're golden. Sending out a message, leave them in the wreckage. Unbreakable, powerful, forces not to mess with. We came here to win it, we'll fight till we're finished. You better be ready to go down. Calling us famous, I'm losing the papers, and we find no way cause we know how. Get it twisted, we doing our business, pretending our names and it's so loud. Better believe it, we can't be defeated, know it. We are the heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until the hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until the hands are to the heavens. We are the heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until the hands are to the heavens. Heroes, we're talking legends. Won't back down until the hands are to the heavens.
And I am an unbreakable force not to be messed with. That's right. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your life.